Part 52. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 516. Coming. Suddenly, the real jade sword first stood up on the white jade sword suspended under him, with a cold and dignified look on his face. In the sky above the zodiac in the distance, two huge light clusters suddenly appeared faintly, one silver white and one iron gray. It seems that the two groups of scorching sun are moving towards the jade sword real person. The two huge light groups are not only extremely amazing in speed, but also bring a grand voice, like 9 days of heaven and earth rolling constantly in the sky. In just a moment, two extremely powerful pressures penetrated through the sky. Outside this crack of the sky dome, those monks who had originally patrolled the town and guarded by Dongguan could not control their minds at all, could not take off, and all landed on the ground, looking at the sky with awe. I saw two huge light masses descend from the sky. These two huge light groups turned out to be two huge statues of Daozun, who were all over 6 feet tall. A Taoist statue is silver white and sits on a silver white lotus stand. It looks like a man and a woman. It overlooks the life. A strange 7-petal flower is squeezed in one hand. The coat on his body is like a cloud. As a result, the other hand was slightly raised in front of his chest and pinched a tactic, but in the palm of his hand, there was a monk wearing a moon-white vest. At this time, in the palm of the Daozun, the face of this monk could not be seen clearly, but when this silver-white Daozun fell, a wave of aura from Daozun formed countless. The lotus flower seems to fall every day, and this monk's body has a breath of fresh sandalwood, which instantly spread over hundreds of square feet. This statue is obviously a real thing condensed by Dan Xia. The breath exuded from this monk is also the mysterious breath that the monk of the divine profound realm has. In other words, this Daozun is simply the form of the God profound Fa that has been formed after the real Jin Dan broke the wall. This monk is a real monk. And the other who landed with him is the same. Another Daozun, with an iron gray body all over his body, has an extremely fierce look, and his bare feet are standing in the air, coming down. The vest on his body is like a cast iron, with 7 starlights shining behind, but it forms a Baidu 7-star shape. The hands of this barefoot Daozun hold a pen in one hand and a scroll in the other. It looks like a mortal legendary judge who is killing life and death. The God profound realm monk who transformed this God's mysterious Dharma phase, was now suspended in the heart of this Daozun by an iron gray aura. A monk of God profound realm. The great monk of God profound realm is already the most supreme existence in the monastic world. Not to mention the current monastic world. Even in the past 10,000 years, among all the records of the monastic world, the highest monk, that is, only the profound realm. Many of the exercises, above the divine profound realm, still have a real fairyland. It is said that in the real fairyland, it is the real power. The real fairy has a great magical ability to move mountains and fill the sea, and change the climate. But for tens of thousands of years, with the extinction of various heaven and earth elixirs, the loss of various ancient and powerful cultivation practices, and the decline of the world of monasticism, in the last tens of thousands of years, let alone the Tianqian continent, even Hishan the Yunling continent, which is the closest to the profound land, is also a monk who has only been out of the profound realm of God. There is no monk in the real fairyland. Therefore, the monks of the divine profound realm are the topmost existence in the entire monastic world. Now even if they are ordinary Jindan monks, they do not even know the entire Tianqian continent. But what is certain is that there will be no more than 10 monks in the entire Tianqian continental God profound realm. Because every breakthrough of Jindan consumes amazing resources and requires extraordinary opportunities, especially after Jindan's 4th fold, the breakthrough of cultivation practice is even more difficult than imagined, except for the top 10 of Tianqian continent. Super zone men, haven't heard of other zone men at all, and can be a monk who has been able to go out of God profound realm. The top 10 ancestors are certainly not every monk with gods and monks, and some sects are definitely not. Even if it is beyond the entire sky dome, it can pose a threat to the monks of the God Profound realm. There are only monsters above the 8th level, and the monsters at the 8th level, and even the 9th level, are like the monks of the God Profound realm. Basically, there is a legend that monks of Divine Profound realm do not usually roam outside the sky dome and explore treasures. Because in the monastic world, the things that are traded, and even the things in the hands of the monk Jindan, are already in their sights. Therefore, the monks of the God Profound realm are all legendary existences with nothingness. But now, there is a monk of God Profound realm here, and 2 monks of God Profound realm appeared at once, which only shows that there will be extremely amazing events happening here. Metropolitan. There are also insurmountable distances between Jindan's 5-fold amazing monk and God Profound realm. This distance may be greater than the distance between Nian realm and Jindan realm. So in front of these 2 people, even the presence of Jade Sword's real man had to put away his usual cold arrogance. When these 2 Divine Profound realm monks came down with terrifying Divine Profound Fa phase and Divine Profound aura, then he performed a salute far away. After calling the sect master the Silver Monk in the hands of the Silver Daozun, he paid a tribute to the monk with the iron grey Daozun physique, and said, "The younger Jade Sword, Si Tiankui Genjun." Metropolitan. Tiankui Genjun. If Li Ruohe and others were able to see the scene and heard the name Jade Sword real, they would definitely be shocked again. This monk, who turned into a silver-white Daozun and wore a moon-white garb, was a lord of the Northern Ming sect, Xuanhuan. The true king of Tiankui is the master of the imperial palace. Wuji Tiangong is also the top 10 super ancestors of Tianxian continent, with 100,000 disciples. He appeared here, which also represents a terrifying power. Jade Sword is really kind, you don't have to be too polite. A faint voice, falling from the sky, seems to have a certain unique power, one by one suppressed on the minds of all the monks present, making people feel very incomparably huge, as if really a fairy beyond 9 days, Tianzun, came down. But at this moment, I saw this sound, but only a middle-aged monk with a very ordinary figure, which was shorter than Wei Suo by more than half a head. The monk was wearing an iron grey robe. The runes on the robe were like splashing ink. They were very mad and could not understand at all. His face is also very ordinary, but people who look at him will not care about his face even if he does not have this mysterious appearance of the god, because the divine light emitted from his eyes is completely solid and transparent. When he was a few feet away, as long as he looked at him, he would have a shocking feeling of kneeling and submitting. These 2 monks came down. There were still many roars of beasts outside the sky dome. It seems that there are many monsters and beasts who want to break through the cracks here. But as soon as they came down, these roars of beasts were all disappeared. It seemed that these monsters all felt the danger of destruction, and they ran as far as they could. When they reached 50 or 60 feet above the altar, the 2 gods' mysterious Dharma phases expanded and contracted suddenly, and turned into 2 divine lights, which were included in the bodies of the 2 gods. This kind of mysterious Dharma phase is made by Jindan breaking the wall, just like the product of the transformation of Jindan. The power is unimaginable. It can be sacrificed like Jindan, with the monk flying, far exceeding the magic weapon of flying escape. It can also be withdrawn like Jindan without revealing it. But even if it does not reveal the appearance of the Divine Profound Dharma, the monks of the Divine Profound realm naturally revealed, and the unique aroma exuded by the flesh can also make any monk feel it at once. At the moment, the 2 monks received the mysterious Dharma and came down. The patriarch of the Northern Ming dynasty, Xuanhuan, was a very gentle-looking man. All his hair was combed behind his head, and he wore a whip. The face looks like a monk in his 30s. But its true age is simply not visible. Because in his eyes, there is also a mysterious divine light, which is not like the eyes of ordinary monks. You can see the vicissitudes and experiences. Emperor Yu, I haven't seen you for a long time. It seems that cultivation has improved a lot. After falling to the level of jade swords and others, the northern Ming sect master Xuanhuan said this to the noble emperor standing on the bones of the ancient Tianlong. It seems that between the two biggest men in the northern part of Tianxian continent, it has been a long time since they have touched their heads. Cultivation is advanced, but the distance from Shenzhen, but I don't know how much the difference is. Emperor is not hypocritical, but sighed like a sigh. It seems that in his realm, the name, the invincible heart, etc. have all become foreign objects. The only thing he pursues is supernatural powers, the only goal. At this moment, Yudai and others met. It can be said that the highest group of people in the entire monastic circle were together. With a soundproof mask, people outside cannot even hear the details of their conversation. Xuanhuan, I know that your northern Ming zone has gone through thousands of years of research on this sky dome. But how sure are you about the test of the sky dome's condition? After a sigh, you did was no nonsense. Looking at Feathering Fandeo, I saw in ancient books that more than one monk of God profound realm tried to test the power of the sky dome and caused it to fall. Relax, at least 80% of this matter is sure, otherwise I can't say that Tiankui Zhenjun came to help. Xuanhuan glanced at the notch of the sky dome not far away, and his face appeared extremely dignified. Look. Test the power of the sky dome. If Wei Suo is here, he will definitely change his face completely when he hears this, because the super gate of the establishment of the small heaven realm by Yunling mainland was precisely because it wanted to use the power of the sky dome to cause destruction. Now, this feather fan and others, turned out to test the power of the sky dome. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 517. Hearing Xuanhuan said that he had more than 80% assurance, the emperor fell silent and said nothing. I really hope that the sky dome is not what you expected, or you will not know what the consequences will be. Tiankui Zhenjun looked at the sky dome not far ahead, and after saying this, nodded, Master Yugong, let's start. Go. It seems that it has already been said in general. After Xuanhuan nodded, he didn't say much, but the real person of the Ghost Emperor with the Ghost Emperor's chariot was the first to cast a spell. I saw two black python-like elements, which poured into a magic circle on his Ghost Emperor's chariot. Immediately, a fuchsia brilliance radiated from the chariot, forming a fuchsia aura mask, which wrapped all the feathers and others. After the formation of this spiritual light mask, the two black iron unicorns holding the chariot suddenly sizzled, like the resurrected undead corpse in the ghost land of Xuanhuan, and a puffy and cold black spouted out of the mouth. Water element comes out. These black water elements are attached to the surface of the aura mask, making the entire aura mask black. Laugh. Almost at the same time, the jade sword real people's hands emit white ice-like crystals, also into the aura of light. For a time, the black water element seemed to be frozen again, forming a layer of hoarfrost. Slap. 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 A violent explosion, like a frozen black hood, was directly pierced out of the Suzaku bird formed by this altar, and out of the rift of the sky dome. The power of the Huoyuan altar, which is used to block the gap in the sky, looks extremely terrifying. It needs the cooperation of the two big figures, the Ghost Emperor and the real Jade Sword, to resist. After passing through the center of the Suzaku divine bird, which was stronger than the fierce fire of the ancient times, these amazing characters stopped at the middle of the crack in the sky. Jade Swordsman received the spell, and Ghost Emperor stopped the two zombie-like unicorns from spraying black water, but only maintained the fuchsia mask of the Ghost Emperor's chariot. At this moment, we can see clearly that there are countless stars and brilliances surging on the cracked section of the sky dome. It looks like a thin layer, but in the cross-section, it seems that there are countless mysterious mysteries, runes, Sanskrit, like a galaxy. The magical power of the ancients is simply unimaginable. After gazing at the gap in the sky for a moment, the northern Ming sect master Xuanhuan, the supreme existence of the Taoist realm, the monk of the god profound realm, could not help but sigh. After this sigh, he stretched out his hand, and 7 round beads appeared on his hand. These 7 beads vary in size, the smallest soybean size, the largest is only the size of a pigeon egg, and the color varies from white to yellow, but they all exude a holy, compassionate atmosphere. On top of these beads, there were faintly layers of Buddha light, and the glory that appeared on the 2 beads even formed a statue of Buddha. These beads are the monks who practiced Buddhist monks in ancient times. Tiankui Zhenjun was also looking at the crack of the sky dome with some awesome eyes. When Fiwa took out these 7 beads, he immediately bowed, his eyes showing some surprise. Yes, these are relics handed down from the ancients. Yu Huafan nodded. These relics. Tiankui Zhenjun carefully looked at these 7 relics. I saw that the 7 relics were all engraved with various dense runes. These runes looked like Sanskrit, just like a piece of text. The book is long. This kind of Buddhist practice of repairing relics has also been lost tens of thousands of years ago. In the current world of monasticism, this kind of relics is also rarer than the monk's jindan. It is rare to know how many times. Since this matter is of great importance, invite all Taoists to test the sky dome. There is nothing to hide. Yu Huafan looked at Tiankui Zhenjun and Yudai and other people, and explained dignifiedly. We Biming Zone have suspected that the power of the sky dome has weakened to a certain extent since thousands of years ago, and we have been studying the sky dome. In the past millennium, our countless senior monks of Biming Zone found that the power of the sky dome was to be introduced. It is simply impossible to come out. The power of the sky dome is just a bit more random, which is far stronger than all the true powers of a Xianjing monk. The only feasible way to test the power of the sky dome is not to elicit power. It can only be injected with power to see the changes in the sky. We found that the power of this sky dome is very similar to the power of this ancient relic, that is to say, this kind of power in the ancient relic can be injected into and absorbed by the sky dome. The power of this ancient relic could actually be injected into the sky dome and absorbed by the sky dome. Tiankui Zhenjun and Yudai and others showed a shocked look on their faces again. We have discovered this point hundreds of years ago, but for these ancient relics, for the entire sky dome, it is just a drop of the sea. With a little injection of power, we can't see it at all. Yu Huafan took a deep breath. Tone. So only by fixing a small area of the sky dome and seeing the power of this small area change, can we figure out how far the sky dome is at the moment. This means of temporarily fixing a small area of the sky dome, and the method of speculating the power of the entire sky dome has been our northern Ming sect for hundreds of years. Now that we have gathered so many ancient relics, it should be possible for us to calculate the speed of the depletion of the power of the sky dome. And what is going on here? Temporarily seal a small piece of sky dome. Yudai's eyes flashed violently, his breath stopped. You can rest assured that we have tried it before. I am alone, and I can't seal it at all, but with your cast, there should be no problem. Yu Huafan reached out a hand, 7 of them were only half a foot away. The long white ice prism-like crystal columns emerged from his hands. Then an ordinary piece of blue jade was suspended in front of him. This is a method of temporarily fixing a seal of the sky dome. Tiankui Zhenjun has seen it before. You Emperor, you haven't seen it yet. After releasing this piece of jade, Yu Huafan then said to Yudai and others. It's the best. Good, it seems that your northern Ming zone is indeed painstaking. My hard work is also thinking that one day in the future, I can understand the magical power of the ancient power, the mystery of the heavenly dome. Yu Huafan, sooner or later, let's start now. It was just that the consciousness swept twice, and the Emperor's expression stretched out his hand in awe, and took 2 of the 7 white ice-like crystal columns that Yu Huafan took out and took it into his hands. Jade Swordsman, you are responsible for guarding the surroundings. Anyone or monster enters the range of 500 feet, kill them immediately. Yu Huafan also took 2 of them into his hands. Hearing the jade sword he commanded, nodded his head, and the white brilliance flashed up, and at the same time, a white sword light radiated from his body, instantly forming a huge hedgehog, staying in the middle of the air. It exhaled terribly murderous. Puff. Tiankui Zhenjun also took 2 white ice prism-like crystal pillars, while the Ghost Emperor real person took 1, not much to say, directly a stock of true yuan, and directed towards this white ice prism. Go in. Xuanhuan, Tiankui Zhenjun, Yudai, and Guida Genren are all 4 people who have been continually focusing on nearly 2 incense sticks. The real elements in the body are extremely worn out. The prismatic crystals were excited and turned into 7 white lights, which hit the sky dome in front. The area of the sky dome surrounded by the 7 white brilliances is only a small piece a few feet square, and one of the edges is just a crack in the sky dome. As soon as the 7 white brilliances shot into it, they immediately turned into countless fine silks, and walked on this sky dome, as if they were bound firmly. Without a slight stop, Xuanhuan reached out a little, and the 7 relics were immediately released, forming 7 beams of light, which kept pouring into the sky dome. Immediately, in front of Xuanhuan, a blue crystal column with a height of half a person appeared, and it was also covered with many Sanskrit. This crystal column seems to be used to sense the power change of the sky dome, so as to judge the speed and condition of the sky dome's exhaustion at the moment. It was only a few dozen breaths, and the 7 relics slammed suddenly, all shattered. All the power is injected into the small sky. Get up. With the deep cry of Xuanhuan, Tiankui Zhenjun, and others are all like enemies, all the 7 white lights shot into the sky dome by one hand, and they are still turned into a white crystal column. What makes everyone feel relieved is that the glory on the sky dome is still very stable. It seems that there were no accidents during the trial of the sky dome. After secretly breathing a sigh of relief, everyone's attention was immediately focused on the blue crystal pillar in front of Xuanhuan. Click. A dazzling blue light suddenly appeared on the blue crystal column. In the blink of an eye, a crack appeared in the blink of an eye, as if the entire blue crystal column would break apart. Feathering Fan's complexion changed immediately. This sky. Tiankui Zhenjun and others suddenly couldn't help but want to ask questions, but at this moment, the jade sword real person Yukong, who was outside the crowd, suddenly issued a fierce scream. This sound is full of killing intentions, but full of terrified panic. A group of fire that is more fierce and faster than the meteorite, with terrifying pressure and terrible power than the extinct Jindan, smashed down from the sky. The blazing flames sprayed at least 1,000 feet. In the middle of this blazing fire is a unicorn exuding a unique atmosphere, a unicorn with a length of 3 feet. Ancient Fire Unicorn. It is not a variant produced by the mating of Kirin and other exotic beasts, but a real 9-level monster, the Ancient Fire Kirin. Oh! Oh oh! Oh oh! Oh oh! Just when the real jade sword screamed, the jade sword under him, and countless white sword chi all over his body, had all been slain on this fire unicorn. But including all the white sword chi, including his jade sword, when he beheaded this fire unicorn, it was all burst. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 518. The 9th level monster is originally the most honorable and pinnacle existence among monsters and beasts. Its status among monsters and beasts is just like the monk in the realm of Taoism. The strength of the 9th level monster beast itself is not lost to the Xianjing monk. And the real ancient unicorn, ancient heavenly dragon, ancient holy phoenix, these beasts have more talented supernatural powers than the ordinary 9th level monsters, and they have unique sensing ability to many heaven and earth elixir. Therefore, these monsters, among the 9 monsters, cannot be accurately graded. Because some ancient unicorns and ancient heavenly dragons may consume less heaven and earth elixir, only the strength of level 9 lower level monsters, but some ancient unicorns and ancient heavenly dragons have the strength of level 9 top-level monsters. But whether it is the ancient Kylin or the ancient Tianlong, in the ancient world of monasticism, it is extremely rare. The ancient Tianlong has even been extinct for a long time, and it will not appear for thousands of years. But at the moment, the body of this unicorn exudes a huge amount of blood like the scorching sun, and the incomparable purity of the fire element is completely like the natural blood of the body. This unicorn is a real ancient unicorn, the same as the ancient Tianlong. This situation is just like a monk town that has not seen the monk Jindan for thousands of years. Suddenly, there are monks who have emerged from the 10 gods. This ancient Kylin exudes great consciousness, and it is no wonder that the five-fold cultivation of Jindan, a jade sword real person, can't say anything at this moment, but can only issue a violent scream. At the moment, all the spells and magic weapons issued by jade swordsman shattered, and he did not dare to have any obstruction at all, so he could only fly madly and let aside. What? Ghost Emperor real man and you Emperor's body of light flashed up layer by layer, and their hair seemed to erect. But at the moment when the two are about to shoot, roar! The ancient Kylin in the sky let out a trembling roar. An unimaginably huge, with an endless and powerful will, and the coercion of the Emperor, who is 9 days and 10 earths alone, shocked like a shock wave. The two's bodies shook at the same time, an urge to surrender. This ancient unicorn sent out at this moment is exactly like the magic of the consciousness, and this ancient unicorn's consciousness is extremely huge, and it has completely suppressed the 5 monks of Jindan. How come there is an ancient unicorn here? Does this sky dome? Boom! The two Xuanhuan monks, the northern Ming sect master Yu Huafan and the Wuji Tiangong palace master Tiankui Zhenjun, were unaffected. Just as the will of the ancient Kylin hit the two people like a tide, all of them the trick, but it seems to open at the same time, a terrifying energy rises, 2 gods and mysterious phases larger than Kiran rise at the same time. Laugh. The Xianfa transformed by Tiankui is full of iron gray, with a pen and a scroll in his hand. At this moment, the hand of the Xianfa with the pen swipes, and an iron gray appears in the sky in front of him. The light pattern, on the scroll, rises a huge gray rune. In the eyes, 2 silver-white beams of light emerged from the eyes of Yehuafan's divine profound Fa. The speed of these 3 attacks seems to exceed the teleportation spells and magic weapons. It seems to exceed the time and directly hit the unicorn. Boom! This ancient unicorn turned out not to block these attacks in general. Hit by Tiankui Zhenjun and Yehuafan, the whole flesh suddenly shot countless thin beams of light, and immediately collapsed. But at the same time, a more amazing red light, with a more terrifying will, made Tiankui real and Yehuafan's divine profound faith a slight shock, rushing to Fang K Tiankui real and Yehuafan, etc. The sky dome fixed by human seal. What? The cultivation practice of Tiankui Zhenjun seems to be slightly higher than that of Yehuafan. At this moment, he seemed to have reacted to something. The entire divine profound Fa phase suddenly shrunk, turned into an amazing iron gray torrent, and rushed to the red light. Boom! 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 The red light's non-stop explosions were all suppressed by the iron gray torrent. The red light on the surface of the unceasing explosion of the surface is awesome as this ancient Kylin's demon. Seeing this ancient Kylin's demon pill is about to be suppressed, but inside the demon pill, it suddenly burst out a beam of light. This beam of light is a tiny, miniature unicorn, like the spirit of this ancient unicorn. What? In the terrifying gaze of Tiankui and others, this beam of light hit the sky dome of Fang Cai. At this time, inside the sky dome, all the monks who patrolled and guarded around the sky dome were also screaming violently. Across the sky, but these monks also saw this ancient unicorn that suddenly came down, and they also saw the amazing scenes of the Xianjing monk and this 9-level monster beast fighting method. Click. Just as the mini Keelan-like brilliance shot from the ancient Kylin Yadan hit the sky dome, The blue crystal column in front of Fei Fan shattered sharply. Fives. In the mouth of Xuanhuan, who couldn't see the expression on his face, a word came out. At the same time, the sky dome that was temporarily sealed and fixed by them showed numerous milky white light patterns. A whirl of milky white waves of unimaginable speed rushed towards the outside. What? From the appearance of ancient Kailan to the present, it is just a matter of breathing. Ghost Emperor and Yudai, who have not been able to get started by the huge will and knowledge of ancient Kailan at this time, are all faceless screams. Got up. Jin Dan rose directly above the heads of the two people, and several layers of aura masks appeared immediately outside him. The first is the real person. Because of the golden pill that flew at the ancient Kailan, his divine profound Dharma phase was the closest to the sky dome. In an instant, the milky white light wave impacted on this sky dome collided with his divine profound Dharma. Puff. Look, the book will come. It seemed that a piece of paper was burned out in an instant and turned into ash. The image of Tiankui's reality was just collided with this translucent milky white light wave, and immediately collapsed and turned into fly ash. The mysterious physiognomy of the monks of the divine profound realm, how huge is the power, but it is simply unable to resist the power of the sky dome, and it is directly impacted and ashed. What? The real jade sword, the farthest away, saw this scene again and issued a terrified scream. Among the tricks on his body, he burst out countless rays of light, sword energy, and instantly condensed into a huge white sword, slashing fiercely to the milky white light wave. It seemed that he wanted to block it as much as possible, so that the Sky Aoi and Xuanhuan escaped. But there is no use at all. At the moment of contact with the milky white light wave, Jade Sword Realm only felt the spell he sent out, as if it were a thin branch, facing a giant mountain pressed down. No words can describe the situation at this time. No word can describe the speed at which this light wave spreads. Puff. I saw the topmost existence in the Taoist realm, the real body of Tiankui, who was cultivated by the divine profound realm, and the entire body was instantly in the spread of light waves and turned into ashes. Then the real Ghost Emperor and the real Ghost Emperor, without any blocking ability, turned into ashes instantly. But what makes people very shocked is that the magical tools on these people, including the chariot under the real Ghost and real Emperor, and the skeleton of the ancient Tianlong, are not damaged. All fell intact. It seems that this spreading light wave only kills all the creatures who dare to destroy the sky dome, but it does not damage the dead objects that have been refined into magic weapons and magic weapons. At this moment, Xuanhuan's divine profound fa contracted violently, and the entire flesh seemed to shrink quickly, as if to become a baby. But in an instant, Xuanhuan's body was also submerged by this milky light wave. What? Even Jade Swords, who is at least 100 feet away from Xuanhuan and others, was not spared. Before he could do the rest, the huge white long sword he sent, with his body, was all turned to ashes. The transparent light wave disappeared in a flash. The demon and flesh of ancient Kailan have all disappeared. The figure of Xuanhuan and others disappeared in the sky. The last thing that fell was the vestment of jade swords, and some artifacts. Ah! 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 All the monks in the sky dome screamed with their cold hairs upright after a long period of silence. Metropolitan. Some monks even wept bitterly. The 2 monks of God Profound Realm, 2 monks of Jindan's 5-fold training, and a monk of Jindan's 4-fold training, even disappeared in the power of the sky dome. Not counting the real people of Tiankui, the 4 top monks in the northern part of Tianxian continent, even at this moment all fell here. If the news of the death of the monk Shenxian realm is spread, I don't know what kind of shock it will cause. This sudden situation made most of the monks present unacceptable. Moreover, the monks present were also the monks of the northern Mingzong and Yuhan Palace. That is, the first group of monks trembling, walking through the sky domes on both sides, saw that Tiankui and others did not leave anything except clothing and magic utensils, but Xuanhuan was under the original position, but there is a cyan ball. The ball is the size of a watermelon, the surface looks like a stone, there is no aura, and there are no runes. What is this? While looking at the cyan stone ball-like thing, these trembling monks, the 5 character finally expressed by Xuanhuan, what did the 5 character mean? Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 519. In the early morning, a monk in ordinary clothes walked in the streets of Xixiang City. This monk is a flat face, and his face is covered with pock marks, but his eyes are occasionally exposed to be completely inconsistent with his appearance. This monk, Wei Suo, was in Wanchao City, thought it was Zhang Fenji, and finally gave her the 2 female magicians. Later, the female cultivator used this method to change her appearance. Unexpectedly, the female cultivator appeared in the 4 elephant cities in the northern part of Tianqian continent. It was just that she was wearing a yellow shirt, but now she just changed to an ordinary cyan vest. At this time, the shocking event that occurred in the crack of the outer sky dome of the Zodiac City was obviously blocked by the North Ming Zone and the Yuhan Palace. The Xianjing monk fell. Now that the sky dome of the Zodiac City has fallen into so many monks who were astonished at once, but after all, the sky dome is still blocked. This time the sky dome split, the Zodiac City was destroyed, countless monsters and beasts ran into the sky dome, and the number of monsters and monks hunted by the monks was also very amazing. In addition, many teleportation circles in the northern part of the Tianqian continent are damaged. Not to mention that even if they are intact teleportation circles, most monks dare not teleport through the teleportation circle, because they are afraid that they will be sent by the teleportation circle at the same time. The zerg that destroys the crystals that break the sky will come for a moment. The vast majority of monks are now on their way, basically relying on flying escape spells and flying escape magic. Many monster beasts hunted by monks are traded locally in these cities near the Zodiac City. Therefore, in the city like 4 Elephant City, the materials of the refiners on various shops, various monsters are not only amazing, and the grade is quite high. Many monks came to buy the materials of the demon pill and refining equipment needed for cultivation, and many monks came to hunt the monsters that had fled into the sky. So for a short time, in the sky outside the city like the 4 Elephant City, the various colors of escape can be said to be endless. The number of monks in and out of the 4 Elephant City is 10 times as many as usual. The transaction was so hot and breathtaking, it was as if a large temple fair was being held in the whole city. The sky dome crack was rare in the first half of the past, that is, in recent decades, only a few mouths have been cracked, and this exquisite female nun who is actually exquisite in appearance and completely not under Jia is obviously not heaven. The monk in the northern part of the Xian mainland, logically speaking, this female nun should also have seen such a scene for the first time. Now in these 4 elephant cities, it stands to reason that this female nun should surely also look at the excitement and take a good stroll. But this female nun walking in the 4 elephant city seems to have no leisurely elegance at all. There is a worried expression between his eyes. I saw that he entered a large-scale store. It seemed that after buying something out, he quickly walked out of Xixiang City. But after only a few hundred steps, the woman's face changed suddenly. After looking around, she quickly walked into the unmanned alley behind a shop. Puff. Just walked into this unmanned alley, this female nun was shocked, and suddenly a light green aura appeared on her body. This feeling is as if the female practitioner has been suppressing something, but at the moment it can't be suppressed. After about a dozen breaths, the aura of the nun disappeared. There will be 10 days at the latest, and it will be a pill. You have to run outside the sky dome and find a safe place. Later, the female practitioner shook her head very anxiously, and after speaking to herself, she quickly walked out of the alley and continued to walk quickly out of the 4 elephant city. Listening to this female nun's self-talk at the moment, what she is suppressing is actually her own knot. The exercises she practiced seemed to be very peculiar. I don't know what the reason is. It seems that it is somewhat similar to Wei Suo, who ingested the wonderful tree fragments. Even if you don't deliberately practice, the true Yuan cultivation will improve, so even if she deliberately suppressed, it seemed that it was inevitable to face the juncture immediately. It stands to reason that ordinary monks will always be excited when they have a chance to attack Jindan, and they must choose a safe city to attack Jindan. But she didn't know what the reason was, suppressing to avoid impacting Jindan, and now she couldn't suppress it. She didn't choose to impact Jindan in the monk city pool, but had to run outside the sky dome to impact Jindan monk. This is unbelievable. It's the old ghost of Panlong. He's not staying in Jinwuzong. What did he do here? Who is this guy? It's not worse than him. Just as the female cultivator hurriedly left the 4 elephant cities, in a wild mountain forest outside the sky dome, a group of ancient trees suddenly burst into a blue air, a dwarf green-robed old man, in the blue air looming in the middle. This old man in Qingbao is about as tall as a child of 5 or 6 years old, but his face is very fierce. The aura of his body is also very powerful, and the shape of the aura condensed outside his body is also the appearance of a blue ancient tree. Moreover, the spirit and breath of this old man seem to be in one piece with the mountain forest, exactly the same as the breath of the surrounding trees. If it was hidden in this mountain forest, I am afraid that even with Weizhou's consciousness, he would never find it. At this time, the fierce gnome old man looked at the west sky with twinkling eyes. In the sky on the west side, there is a looming black escape light, blazing at the speed with amazing speed. 2 such guys, and they are still rushing towards the depths of the wilderness. There must be some benefits. After a few flashes of glance, the gnome old man couldn't help but keep up. No, the 2 guys are just one, and I can't deal with it. I have to call the Blackwoods and they come to help, but he paused again and reached for a pat on his nabeo and took out a blue jade sparrow-like instruments. Immediately, upon seeing his finger swipe, this blue jade sparrow-like implement immediately turned into a blue light, and blazed toward his back. But he immediately followed the looming black escape in the west sky silently. It was also at this time that a turquoise flame burst out of a valley deep in the wild outside the sky dome. With the sound of woo, this blue-black flame was quickly taken back, but it was Wei Suo's Xuancha ghost claw, which captured 6 or 7 colorful viper snakes in his hand. His. Wei Suo's grasp of Xuancha's devil's claw seemed to light a gunpowder barrel, and in the seemingly silent valley, there were suddenly countless dense snakes. These poisonous snakes vary in size. The small ones are as thin as a little finger, but the big ones are bucket-like pythons. And many of these venomous snakes are obviously not inferior in quality. One mouth is sprayed with various clouds, Huaguang and Wenang. They also look very powerful. Kappa. However, the bursts of light flashed, and the attacks of the dense venomous snakes were easily blocked by several light curtains, and then a strong blaze of light swept away. It was only a moment, and the dense the viper was swept away. Then a gust of wind blew away, sweeping away the filthiness around, and the figures of Wei Suo and Li Ruohe appeared one after another and appeared in this valley. In front of this valley, there is a canyon. Above the canyon, there was a looming blue light surging. The whole canyon was filled with a layer of gray clouds and fog, and I couldn't see how long this canyon was, and what was behind it. This is the edge of Qingcheng Ruin. Looking at Wei Suo slightly looking up at the looming blue light above the canyon, Qi Longshan explained, the blue light above does not know what kind of prohibition was formed, but we have tried it last time, and its power is very powerful. It's powerful, it's not that we can block it, so we can only pass through the canyon here. Wei Suo nodded his head, his eyes flashed, and seemed to let go of his consciousness. He probed into the very gloomy canyon ahead, and turned his head to look at Qilong Mountain Road. What is the prohibition in this canyon? It seems very weird. In this canyon, there will be some bat-shaped black fragments excited, it seems that in this Qingcheng ruin, some destroyed and forbidden residual power is formed. This black fragment has a restraining effect on other magic powers, only the fear of fire spells. Wei Daiyu, your fire spells are amazingly powerful. It is easy to pass through here. Qi Longshan looked at Wei Suo, his face slightly dignified, but these ancient prohibitions have been damaged, I don't know what changes have occurred this time compared to the last time. I don't know what to do, and Wei Daiyu is inside. If you cast a spell, it's best not to damage the landforms and buildings inside easily, so as to avoid any unpredictable accidents. I will naturally be careful. If there is no major accident, if I can do it, I will try not to do it first. Wei Suo nodded. Wei Daiyu, this is what you want at this moment. Li Ruohe reached out a little, and 2 pieces of blue note jade fluttered in front of Wei Suo. This is, Wei Suo stunned slightly. I didn't make an appointment before. Outside this Qingcheng ruin, would I give you a slave beast technique? Li Ruohe looked at Wei Suo with a slight smile. I didn't think of it for a while thing. Wei Suohan gave a moment, he only looked at the surrounding scene, but he didn't think about it for a moment. Another copy is the map of the Qingcheng market that we have on hand. It is fair to Wei Daiyu at this time. Looking at Wei Suo, Li Ruohe smiled faintly. Master Li, you do things like this, I appreciate it. To be honest, as long as you don't want to deal with me, I will definitely do my best to explore the treasure with you, and I will never have any thoughts about you here. Li Ruohe said this, and then the consciousness swept towards the 2 pieces of blue jade amulet, and Wei Suo's expression suddenly became a little awkward, watching Li Ruohe and others say. I hope that after this trip, we still have the opportunity to cooperate in the future, and we don't need to consider the issue of credibility. Li Ruohe smiled slightly, didn't say much, and nodded toward Qilong Mountain. The latter didn't have much to say. Reaching out a little bit, they sacrificed a fist-sized silver bead, emitting a circle of silver light, covering a few hundred feet around. Immediately, Qilong Mountain and Qingping led the way, and a group of people walked into the gray canyon in front of them. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 520. Chapter 520 Golden Core Second Layer. How can it get stronger and stronger? Green-robed old man feels that the powerful energy of Wei Suo Golden Core Sunlight is constantly being enhanced. Vertex Novels, Handwriting Novels. Golden Core Second Layer. He is going to break through the cultivation base of the Golden Core Second Layer. Suddenly, green-robed old man reacted to what it was like, and issued a surging sound. The golden core sunlight that Wei Suo reveals in his eyebrows is constantly rising gray treasure. True Yuan in the Wei Suo naked body is drawn by the golden core and is constantly being reduced. At this moment, green-robed old man, although there is no shape-shift great art, knows the lust shape in Wei Suo naked body, but he guessed that there is nothing wrong with it. Wei Suo was actually at this time, just broke through the cultivation base of the golden core second layer. The last time Wei Suo got true martial sect to great treasure 7 apertures immortal pill, it has broken through the late stage of the golden core first layer. There was nothing unexpected about it. Even if Wei Suo is not a culture, at the latest, it will take a few months to break through the cultivation base of the golden core second layer. But now, in Jasper Deo Lotus, in addition to the directly grown treasure golden core's origin chi, there are also a lot of spiritual chi, and when Jasper Deo Lotus origin chi is opened, it washes the mysterious small grass and wonderful tree. The debris brings out the precious amount of spiritual chi. This time, it turned out that Wei Suo broke through to the golden core first layer and broke through to the golden core second layer. This is also an unexpected surprise for Wei Suo. Hong, Hong, Hong. At the moment, among the Wei Suo's inner vision, it has been moisturized by Jasper Deo Lotus, and has already grown a lot of golden core, and continues to expand again. With further expansion, on the surface of the Wei Suo golden core, many of the original lines of the cracks were cracked. But this crack is not really split. Every crack has countless mysterious light symbols connected, and each of these cracks is swallowing the influx of true yuan. The influx of true yuan is further compressed and changed in the golden core, and Wei Suo's golden core is further inflated. Hong. 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 I don't know how many times the continuous vibration and expansion, the light pattern on all the cracks on the surface of Wei Suo golden core, all condensed, forming the air around the golden core that people feel a bit abnormal, and the sunlight excited by the golden core. A burst of noise. The dazzling purple glow, instantly condense a purple ancient heavenly dragon. The golden heavenly dragon of the golden core sunlight condense has reached 10 feet, and the power is extremely amazing. The naked body of this purple heavenly dragon is also more condensed than the original. The purple light is a little bit like a strip. Talisman. Wei Suo, this pair of shadow shift great art great treasure with Dao rank high grade, is a bit sloppy for you. Seeing the Wei Suo golden core sunlight, the condensed purple heavenly dragon, green-robed old man couldn't help but say this. Cultivation base 1 breakthrough from the golden core first layer to the golden core second layer, true yuan power great treasure for the promotion, the power of shapeshift great art is basically doubled. Wei Suo's antiquity ominous fire, including the Dark Emperor sword chi from Xuanhuan Reverend, is a powerful energy with Dao rank high grade. It is displayed at Wei Suo's current cultivation base, and its powerful energy is definitely at least achievable. Half mystic rank. The power of the purple heavenly dragon of his golden core sunlight condense is definitely above the semi-mystic rank. Together with Wei Suo's, there are heaven overflowing river scroll and the 2-part mystic rank shapeshift great art great treasure, plus a set of half mystic ranks bright thunder balls array, shapeshift on Wei Suo. Great art great treasure, almost completed a great treasure exchange. The only downside is that there is a lack of 1.5 mystic rank above the powerful defense shapeshift great art great treasure. Although Wei Suo's black water lotus is a growthable shapeshift great art great treasure, after all, it is still only Dao rank high grade. If you want to reach half mystic rank, you still need to find a lot of amazing water spirit yuan qi. The material is quenched. I still care about what the chicken ribs are not ribbed. Let me talk about how the rest of the spicy herb is secret. If you break through to the cultivation base of the golden core second layer, Wei Suo must be ecstatic, but now the secret place is in this place, can't go out is still an unknown, this cultivation base breaks the joy, but on the great the treasure is discounted. After the purple light flashed and received the golden core of the Ponte great treasure, Wei Suo did not try the powerful energy of shapeshift great art, but directly looked at green-robed old man. These 5 things can be directly refining and upgrading the cultivation base. Although it is not as effective as Xianzhenzialu, it can also improve your cultivation base. It's just that the potency of these things is multiphased and can only be refining separately. And it takes a certain amount of time to refining. And these 5 things will not be lost, you can refining when you want. These things are all packed with ordinary closed pill bottle. These strains, you have to use treasure essence jade case, anyway, in your treasure essence jade case, in addition to the immortal slaying vine seedlings, they can also be put down, these things can also be combined with monster core, refining high-level medicine pill. Green-robed old man naturally wants to find something to escape from this ghost place, so there is no nonsense, just a short time, the remaining spicy land is classified into secret places. This time all the spiritual herbs caught in the Lingmiao Valley, plus the 3 strains that have been refining by Wei Suo, are a total of 43 plants. Among the 43 strains, green-robed old man can confirm that Wei Suo, the golden core stage cultivator, is definitely not available, but there are 11 strains of artificial herbs that can be used by Han Weiwei and Nangong Yuking. Of the remaining 32 strains of herbal herb, 5 are directly refining to enhance the cultivation base, and 3 are also directly refining. For other aspects such as qi and blood, life essence, etc., there is a great treasure good secret place. In addition to these, the remaining 24 strains of the herbal herb, and 18 strains can be used to match other materials, refining other high-level medicine pill. There is a picking grass that can be used to refine the fairy. Among these spicy herbs, except for one oleander fruit, which needs to be preserved in a unique sycamore wooden box. Without the shapeshift great art, the remaining herbal herb can be waited for its waste to become waste. Wei Suo closed up. After all, if you change to another cultivator, I am afraid that there are still no pill bottles of various materials and utensils loaded with spicy herbs, but Wei Suo killed so many high-level cultivators in the Battle of the Night Mountain. The variety of pill bottles and containers on them is terrible. Now, Wei Suo's treasure receiving pocket, which is a great treasure, is a great treasure grocery store. However, in the end, green-robed old man still had 6 spicy herbs that he had never seen before. Green-robed old man has accumulated tens of thousands of years of experience, and his gaze on the sharp herb may be stronger than that of heavenly profound continent's top-grade alchemist. He can't recognize these spiritual herbs, and it is estimated that they have just seen the records. A very small number of cultivators can recognize the origins of these artificial herbs. These 6 spicy herbs, 4 of which are grassy spicy herb, 1 is a deep red flower, and 1 is a bunch of blue-black fine fruit. From the point of view of its color and smell, it should not be an ordinary spicy herb. Just can't recognize it. Wei Suo naturally didn't dare to try it. So after a little consideration, Wei Suo took out 6 ordinary white jade pill bottles. I am going to put these 6 things in and say. At that time, if the white jade pill bottle is not suitable for storing some of the spiritual herb inside, if it is broken, then Wei Suo does not have shapeshift great art. Hey! But just as Wei Suo was going to put the 6 things together, Yang Rougebird suddenly called out and looked like a finger. Is there something you know? There is a great herb that has a great treasure and a secret place. Can't use this save, need to be refining right away. After seeing the look of Yang Rougebird, Wei Suo and green-robed old man looked at each other and couldn't help but say to Yang Rougebird. Wei Suo knows that many monster beasts have the ability to recognize some special spiritual herbs, but they are still on top of the cultivator. But what made Wei Suo stunned was that after hearing his question, the head of the singer shook his head, and with a wing, he ordered it. What do you mean? There is a spiritual herb that has a great treasure and a secret place. Green-robed old man reacted to what it was like, and couldn't help but say such a sentence. This Yang Rougebird suddenly became very humanized and nodded. Yesterday's red card is very powerful, and today it can be more powerful and more inflated. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 521. Chapter 521 is advanced. Which spicy herb? Wei Suo and green-robed old man looked at each other and couldn't help but look at the spirited bird. The Yang Rougebird suddenly slammed against the blue-black fine fruit. Wei Suo and green-robed old man carefully looked at the blue-black fine fruit. I saw that the fruit shape of this bunch of fine fruit is like a peach, but the fruit of the great treasure is only a small one of the great treasure of the soybean. It has a total of more than a dozen fruits. The stems and leaves are also blue-black and have a faint aromas of wine. The stems and leaves seem to be very brittle. When Wei Suo breaks, the juice is solidified, like a layer of blue-black crystal, sparkling. Hey! This Yang Rougebird is very humanized with a wing to the artificial herb, and from time to point his mouth. What do you mean, this thing you want to swallow refining right away? Wei Suo looked at Yang Rougebird. Yang Rougebird is another nod. In this case, then this thing will be given to you. Wei Suo reached out and bounced the spicy herb to the Yang Rougebird. Yang Rougebird suddenly grabbed 2 claws and grabbed it. At the same time, Wei Suo swayed his head and tail, and you were really old treasure, and you really had the flesh and blood. Then the Yang Rouge bird quickly ate for food. Is just a moment of effort. Not only is the blue-black fine fruit on this spicy herb, even the stems and leaves of this spicy herb are eaten clean, and even a little juice is left. This thing, even green-robed old man does not know. Yang Rouge bird swallows, what kind of changes will happen. Wei Suo and green-robed old man are also very curious, so they are also silent watching sound. This. However, it was almost just in a blink of an eye. After eating the Yang Rouge bird of this spicy herb, I suddenly felt a slap in the face, and my legs were stunned. I suddenly got out of danger and even spit out my tongue. And even the tongue is blue and black. Immediately, the Yang Rouge bird fell straight on the ground and rolled over on the ground. Is this guy not going to be wrong, poisoned? Wei Suo and green-robed old man suddenly looked at each other and were stunned. But after a moment of rolling, the Yang Rouge bird didn't roll anymore, and a surging sound shrank his tongue back. Wei Suo breathed a sigh of relief and looked as if it was in a better condition. But then his eyes couldn't help but bulge. The bird is still squatting on the ground, and it still sends out this strange surging sound. After the time of the great treasure half-stick of incense, the bird had a foot and no surging sound. Wei Suo couldn't help it anymore, and a true Yuan wrapped up in the bird. This bird is also a rare spiritual bird. If you swallow something and swallow it, it is a big loss. Uncomfortable death, don't move, let you lie down again. /p. But at this time, a surging sound suddenly rang. No green-robed old man suddenly screamed and screamed. The bird actually spoke. Wei Suo also caught it all at once. Obviously, this surging sound is from Yang Rouge bird, and this surging sound is a sharp man surging sound. It is still not a foreign accent in a remote area. This strain is a spiritual herb that can enhance your ingenuity and make you speak. Green-robed old man great treasure took 3 breaths to accept the surging sound. This is the fact that this Yang Rouge bird sent out, rolled one's eyes and looked like a dead bird on the ground. Asked about Yang Rouge bird. This is the Putafruit. Not only can the great treasure improve the intelligence, but also advance to the ranks. Yang Rouge bird continued to send out a strange accent in the field. I didn't expect this taste to be so uncomfortable. It was like a secret place. It was hard to die. Putafruit. Wei Suo couldn't help but think about Li Ruohei's own shapeshift great art for Yang Rouge bird. In Wei Suo's impression, there seems to be no such artificial herb. It seems that this spicy herb should be an ancient herbal herb, and Li Ruohei may not know the spicy herb. Are you advanced now? Wei Suo looked at Yang Rouge bird and couldn't help but ask. Dialogue with a bird has made Wei Suo feel very weird, especially like a dead bird, a muddy squat on the ground, and a bird dialogue with a foreign accent, which makes people feel a little weird. Old great treasure, yes, you have advanced, and now you are already a very powerful bird. Isn't it going to be advanced once? At most, it's not at the level 6 high level. It can go wherever. Green-robed old man snorted and felt that Wei Suo's, like Wei Suo, was a bit smug. This is not the same. Although the current strength is indeed only the level 6 mid-level is almost the same, but in the head of the skull, there is a light. A group of light. Green-robed old man thinks this Yang Rouge bird is a bit of a mystery. Now it's a light, but after 2 days, the light is clear, and you know it? What the shit's answer is clear, you know. Green-robed old man felt that the bird had burned out of his head. To put it simply, you are now feeling something, and you haven't realized it yet, but after 2 days, you should be clear, and you can also use culture. What do you mean by saying that you will realize the shapeshift great art of culture? Wei Suo suddenly felt a move because he had heard from Li Ruohei that a spirit like Yang Rouge bird, once sensible to a certain extent, would be like a cultivator, comprehending the unique culture of shapeshift. Great art, you can absorb the origin chi. The speed of advance is far better than the previous one. No surprise, "It should be like this," said Yang Rouge Bird. "What kind of spiritual herb is this fruit? Is it only useful for Yang Rouge Bird?" Rian-robed old man squinted his eyes and didn't despise the Yang Rouge Bird, because he knew exactly what the meaning of the unique pupil of the shapeshift great art of the culture. A monster beast who knows about autonomous cultivation, the speed of advancement is not as fast as that of a monster beast that does not understand culture. Looking at Yang Rouge Bird, still on the ground, green-robed old man asked, "How do you know that this is Purdue? Who knows who this is? How are you?" Accent. This kind of spiritual herb is called Purdue. It is known by nature. I only know that I can improve my mind and let me advance. I have no secret place for others, but I don't know. Born to know. Yes, this is not the case when you are a little bird. It should be known when you are an egg when you were born. These insights are already in my head. /p. Green-robed old man is speechless. It seems that the inheritance of this monster beast is indeed understood by the fact that shapeshift great art does not use cultivator. In many cases, this natural inheritance is like nature. As for why it is such an accent, because it used to be on the edge of lonely cold continent, where the cultivator is also such an accent. Later, I followed the Reverend Fire Cloud and arrived at Cloud Spirit Continent. Yang Rouge Bird seems to have finally slowed down and slowly climbed up from the ground. Then you know a lot of things by nature. Do you know this place? Where is it possible to export? Green-robed old man looking at Yang Rouge Bird, I also feel that I don't feel used to talking to a bird. Before and with the succubus deer, the good guys still look like cultivators. How can this kind of place know? You can only wait for the old great treasure to take it out. Yang Rouge Bird shook his head immediately. Do you have a name? Wei Suo looked at the Yang Rouge Bird and couldn't help but ask such a sentence. Now his Yang Rouge Bird can talk. When he asks it, he can't directly call the bird. How do you always have a name? There is no name. Anyway, old precious treasure, you only have a Yang Rouge Bird, you yell Yang Rouge Bird. /p. Without a name, just take a name and you won't be able to do it. White and black are not all right, green-robed old man snorted. I cannot do that. He saw this Yang Rouge Bird slamming his head immediately. According to the habit of our Yang Rouge Bird, we have to marry a wife before we can have a name. If my wife is called Ching Ching, then I will call Yang Ching. If my wife calls Bing Xian, then I will call Yang Bing. /p. You Yang Rouge Bird has such a habit. Do you have your own name after you have a wife? Also take a name from my wife? Rian-robed old man couldn't help but roll one's eyes. That's not what it is. Isn't your Yang Rouge Bird afraid of your wife? Who said that? Yang Rouge Bird is very proud of the gimmick. Our Yang Rouge Bird can be respected by the husband. As the saying goes, it won't be played for 3 days. If you dare to disobey, you will be beaten by us. Fat hit. Rian-robed old man is suddenly speechless. There are a few remaining artificial herbs. What do you know? The advancement of Yang Rouge Bird is also an unexpected surprise for Wei Suo, but the most important thing is to set up shapeshift great art to get out of this place, so Wei Suo doesn't want to waste any time. Not much to say. What? I ordered a few of the remaining artificial herbs. There are a few other things, I don't know. Yang Rouge Bird shook his head immediately. Go, explore, and say this place. Wei Suo put all the remaining missing artificial herbs into the white jade pill bottle, and then Yang Rouge Bird was very familiar and went to Wei Suo's chest, and Wei Suo continued to spur forward. Out. Along the way, the wreckage of the various buildings seen along the way is becoming more and more dense, and the cracks on these buildings are also new, and it is obvious that they are also involved here with Wei Suo. After flying for half a minute, Wei Suo even saw a block of great treasure that was rolled up from the Valley of Spirits. From above, Wei Suo also got a semi-pigmented purple ginseng with an equivalent to amethyst fox rose. Seeing the wreckage of various buildings in sight, the look of Wei Suo's face is getting more and more intense. After another 2 hours of flying, Wei Suo suddenly stopped suddenly. In the far secret place in front of him, there is a shadow of a giant treasure. Dedication. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 522. Chapter 522. Fault Mountain Range. Not a monster beast. Vertex novels, handwriting novels. The shadow circle is at least 1,000 feet, even if it is the ancient golden-winged kunpeng of the ancient naked body type, it is impossible to have such a great treasure. From afar, the yin image of the giant treasure is a mountain range, but it looks different and somewhat weird. Because there is a head, a small part of the whole shadow is upturned and hung. No. Frightened. Waiting for Wei Suo to continue to fly forward, close enough, and thoroughly see the shadow, green-robed old man and Yang Rouge bird are all taking a breath. Wei Suo's eyes are also somewhat solidified. This shadow, which looks very distant from the secret place, is a mountain. With the naked body, it is a broken mountain. Now this vast mountain range is like a piece of celestial fragment. It is slantingly inserted on the ground. There are half of the place that has fallen into the soil. Half of the area is squatting with the land. There is still a small part of it up in the air. Around the rupture mountain range of the Ponte Great Treasure, there is a circle of wavy gullies and debris. These gullies are obviously caused by shock waves caused by the impact of this mountain on the ground. The fractures at the edge of the broken mountain range, including these undulating gullies, are all new. Obviously, this broken mountain, when the black light spread out like a tidal wave, was involved in this inexplicable space with Wei Suo. Actually, half of the mountains are like a piece of debris, rolled in, and then squatted here. What kind of terrifying is this powerful energy? We are in Spirit Valley, what restrictions have been triggered outside, and because many of the restrictions in Qingcheng ruins have been broken, they have caused a chain reaction that doesn't know much. Green-robed old man is pumping air. Under this powerful energy, just breaking 2 ribs, this luck is really good. Look, there seems to be a lot of buildings in this mountain range. Yang Rouge bird also called a surging sound. Wei Suo's eyes have also flickered for a moment and have risen. In this mountain range, there are indeed many temple remnants, and at first glance, the wreckage inside is extremely ancient, giving him the feeling that this mountain is not caught in the inner mountain of Qingcheng ruins. It is also one of the many lotus peaks on the periphery of Qingcheng ruins. Be careful, there are still some restrictions that don't completely lose powerful energy. Soon, green-robed old man was again issued a surging sound exclaimer. Because it looked down from above, this is like a god king ship like broken mountain in the mud. There are still many secret places, flashing several splendid light. Suddenly, Wei Suo's face suddenly showed a suspicious look, and after a slight twitch, it flew toward a secret place in the mountain. A moment later, Wei Suo paused above the broken ruins. Among the ruins, there is a broken temple with naked body purple. This temple is not very high-grade treasure, and it occupies only a few hundred square feet. It looks like the true Tibetan temple, and it has only 3 floors. However, even if the entire temple is now damaged, it is a small hole in the secret place that is weathered, or a small hole in the naked body. It feels like this temple. Yatong naked body is carved from a purple mountain stone with a giant great treasure, and it is directly carved into such a temple. And outside the temple, there is still a layer of purple light curtain, flickering. The front and rear of this great treasure hall, originally like a pond with several great treasures, I don't know what to plant, but now it's all broken and I can't see the original look. After stopping at the top of this great treasure hall, I saw Wei Suo taking a shot on one of his treasure receiving pockets, but took out a piece of science fragment. Why? Is this secret place, recorded on the map fragment we got? As soon as I saw the look of Wei Suo, I saw that Wei Suo took out such a cyan fragment, which was originally a foggy green-robed old man, and suddenly responded and issued a surging sound. Dao Discussion Hall. I didn't think it was just the secret place. The giant great treasure is not obvious in the mountain range, but the ground feels a little tilted. Falling in front of the main entrance of the temple, Wei Suo saw that the main entrance of this temple was gone, and it looked messy. It seems that there is no special brilliance on the first floor of the bottom. There were no plagues on the entire temple, only some of the mysterious rune. Looking around, if there is nothing, purple light curtain is to cover the temple, and there is no gap can be taken in. Hey, there is no name yet. Do you feel that this place is dangerous? Green-robed old man glanced at the purple light curtain and asked Yang Rougebird. I didn't notice any danger. Yang Rougebird nodded very honestly. Hearing Yang Rougebird, Wei Suo didn't hesitate, and reached out. A purple true yuan hit the purple light curtain. A surging sound of, the purple true yuan, like a wall crash, did not collide, but the purple light curtain did not react at all, and there was no powerful energy rebounding. Seeing this kind of lust shape, under the Wei Suo eyes flash, it is a surging sound of, a dark emperor sword chi squatting on this purple light curtain. I saw a surging sound on the purple light curtain, but it was opened a few feet to break the gap, and then the crack slowly narrowed and began to reheal. Wei Suo's surprised look in his eyes flashed. It is not because the purple light curtain can be resealed, but because the powerful energy of this purple light curtain is so bad. Thinking about the few restrictions encountered in the Xingcheng ruins, the powerful energy is amazing. The purple light curtain is not enough. The original restrictions also damaged the great treasure. The powerful energy should also be a great treasure for the lower. In this way, for the current Wei Suo, it should not be much more difficult to enter. Looking at the purple light curtain that slowly bridged, Wei Suo was not impatient. After the purple light curtain was completely closed, Wei Suo was a glimpse of dark emperor sword chi, which took the purple light curtain out of the mouth. Immediately after the shadows, Wei Suo's figure has passed through the crack and stood in the light curtain. After standing in the light curtain, Wei Suo did not stop at all, but also pointed out, and a sword chi rushed out from the front. Seeing sword chi inspired inside, it was no surprise that after the purple light curtain was pulled out, Wei Suo completely let go of his heart and carefully plunged into the temple. These are all star white gold. Upon plunging into the first floor of the temple, Wei Suo discovered that the inside of the temple, the ground, and the surrounding walls were all coated with a silver-white essence metal, and this layer was seen. Essence metal, green-robed old man immediately took another breath. Star white gold. Wei Suo was also taken aback. He also knows that star white gold is one of the spatial meteorite iron essence metals. The material is also exceptionally tough. It is not a big deal with essence metal. Even a small piece is worth a lot of spiritual stones. But now the essence metal plated in this hall is 3 inches thick, and the total number of essence metals added here is naturally amazing. When you can, these essence metals can also be cut and taken away. Rune essence metal is sharper than this essence metal, and the dagger you refine with the rune essence metal should be able to cut. Green-robed old man looked around the white essence metal, vision flickered. So many star white golds can be used to refine a tire-sized body of the great treasure. Shapeshift great art great treasure. Let's see if there is anything else to say. Wei Suo nodded, and divine consciousness swept it twice, and found that there was nothing else worthwhile in this layer, and then carefully rushed toward the top 2 layers. The second layer is almost the same as the first layer. Except for the ground and the walls and the star white gold, it is empty and there is nothing valuable. But just before the 3rd floor entrance secret place, Wei Suo's brow immediately jumped. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 523. Chapter 523 20,000 years ago Great Treasure Cultivator. This hall is a total of 3 floors, and this 3rd floor is already the top floor. Vertex novels, handwriting novels. This layer is arranged like the first 2 layers, and is also coated with a layer of star white gold, but unlike the two layers below, the inside of the secret place is a piece of sapphire. Judging from the shape of the gemstone pieces of the great treasure, it seems that in the third layer, there are many lotus stands made of sapphire, but now these lotus stands are all broken. On the east side of the wall, there is also a smooth white crystal stone, but the crystal stone is covered with spider webs. Something strange is that whenever there is light shining, there will be a layer of brilliance on the white crystal stone, which seems to have numerous broken figures flowing. But at first glance, Wei Suo's eyes are on the top of this layer with a huge great treasure. The broken star white gold from the edge of the hole is in the shape of a downward radial shape. Time gives the impression that there is something heavy that hits this layer directly from the top. Just below a hole, there is a humanoid wreck. This humanoid wreck is a broken essence metal. The surface of this essence metal is great treasure blue, a Dao venerable shape. Now the entire head has been broken, and the chest is also a transparent hole. Although I have been ignorant for thousands of years, many essence metals in the naked body have been decayed and weathered, but the surface is still new and shining with deep blue light. The quaint rune on his body, the mysterious can't be said, the various parts in the naked body, such as the stars in the sky. This essence metal, his hands are empty, no weapons, but even if it is so broken, the naked body still exudes a cold and strong great treasure. To Wei Suo's intuition, this essence metal is not as much known as the essence metal encountered in Little Heavenly Realm. Underneath the wall facing the essence metal, there is a cockroach that is clearly a cultivator. This awkward skeleton, like the white body, is like a white jade, there is no weathering and decay, and even a layer of spirit light. The shapeshift great art on the surface of the naked body is not even damaged. It is cyan as an enemy, but there is a bright red rune. Great Treasure Qing and Great Treasure Red, originally two unusually conspicuous, unusual colors, but all gathered in this shapeshift great art clothing, but it does not make people feel any inconsistency, but exudes a arrogance overbearing atmosphere. At first glance, I can't see the material of the shapeshift great art. But the spirit light is dazzling, and the first impression is that the shapeshift great art has a very high rank. The plaque was almost embedded in the wall behind it, causing the starred star white gold to sag, with a few bronzed essence metal pieces scattered in front of it, like a broken shapeshift great art great treasure. Looking at these scenes, Wei Suo's mind could not help but emerge such a scene. A cultivator wearing a pair of red and white shapeshift great art clothes entered this layer and looked around. Suddenly, the top broke open, this great treasure blue essence metal, broke into the top. Between a face-to-face intercourse hand, the cultivator shattered the head of the essence metal, and the chest broke open a small hole in the head of the great treasure, which defeated the sire. It may be placed in the Qingcheng ruin secret place, but I don't know how to trigger, chasing the strong great treasure essence metal. But this cultivator was also hit by this essence metal, hitting shapeshift great art great treasure, hit by the powerless energy hitting the wall behind him, suffering fatal damage and falling here. Wei Suo divine consciousness swept up and grabbed a piece of something from the back of the essence metal, a piece of great treasure piece of sapphire. This thing is like a golden core, the rounded surface is covered with countless raised lines, the mysterious rune, and this round thing is more than the Wei Suo's golden core. The most peculiar thing is that this rounded core bead is also fused with a twisted black triangle and seems to blend into a naked body. The whole strange core bead, showing red, broken. Seeing such a lust scene, Wei Suo couldn't help but turn around and look at the great treasure blue essence metal. The cultivator of the golden core fourth layer, and also the culture of the shapeshift great art great treasure, even the golden core were sacrificed. The strength is how great treasure, but it still fell into the secret place. The strength of this great treasure blue essence metal is how strong great treasure, it is also conceivable. Karma fire red lotus shapeshift great art clothing. At this moment, the shapeshift great art clothing was shaken. Wei Suo saw that the shape of the shape-shift great art clothing was in the shape of a piece of cyan lotus leaf, while the red color was a piece of rune. The shape of the blossoming red lotus, all the red lotus, gives a breath of arrogance. There is no treasure receiving pocket in this shape-shift great art suit. But just shaking off the shape-shift great art, Wei Suo grabbed it again, but grabbed another object in his hand. This time, Wei Suo grabbed it into the hand, but it was a dark gold with a ring of countless fine rune rings, and the middle of the ring was embedded with a golden crystal stone. Ancient storage ring. Wei Suo, this is the ancient storage ring that ancient passed down. This kind of ancient storage ring space is more great treasure than the high-level treasure receiving pocket. You don't have to bring so many treasure receiving pockets in the future. Upon seeing the ring that Wei Suo caught in his hand, green-robed old man gave a surprise surging sound. Karma Fire Red Lotus Shapeshift Great Art Clothing. What is this rat's shapeshift great art clothing? Compared with green-robed old man, Wei Suo is a bit of a golden eye, but it is obviously calmer. He did not ask the ancient storage ring first, but first asked about this shapeshift great art clothing. Now his shapeshift great art garment made from primal chaos Yunwei has been damaged. It would be useful if the shapeshift great art clothing had a rank over the Dao rank high grade. Karma Fire Red Lotus Shapeshift Great Art Clothing is the real Mystic Rank Defense Shapeshift Great Art Clothing. Green-robed old man looked at Wei Suo and was very excited. This is a real Mystic Rank, the Shapeshift Great Art Great Treasure. Mystic Rank Shapeshift Great Art Great Treasure. Wei Suo's naked body, a slight shock, the eyes flashed a shocked look. Although it has long been guessed that this Shapeshift Great Art Clothing is very popular, Wei Suo did not expect that this Shapeshift Great Art Clothing turned out to be a real Mystic Rank Shapeshift Great Art Great Treasure. Wei Suo's on hand, but even one really? In addition to the human-like black ancient treasure, the rest of the valuable things, it seems that there are only 2 jade talisman that look like a note. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 524. Chapter 524 Ancient Notes, The Life of Shapeshift Great Art Great Treasure. There is no such divine ability. Because he is now a divine mystic realm cultivator have not seen, but according to the records of the current classics, divine mystic the realm cultivator, that is, reclamation the force, that is, divine mystic realm's great treasure cultivator. Although a Dao technique shapeshift great art may be able to destroy a mountain, but there is no shapeshift great art destroy a star, not to mention the power great treasure to traction. And the divine ability, which created the great treasure of heaven's dome, is definitely above the divine ability of the great treasure of the stars, the cultivation base and the divine ability. No wonder that some of powerful by heaven's dome energy is enough to kill divine mystic realm's cultivator. The cultivator in the ancient cultivation world, the ancient heavenly dragon in level 9, etc. For the current cultivator, the strong great treasure is the ultimate beast as the mount, the guardian spirit beast. It seems that it is not nonsense, but it is true. It's a thing. Heaven's dome has been formed until now, nearly 80,000 years, the powerful energy is getting exhausted, and it begins to crack. After the great treasure kin cultivator, it is estimated that its life limit is about 15,000 years. What? Seeing such a record, Wei Suo suddenly changed his face. Why? Wei Suo, what is recorded here? Green-robed old man couldn't help but ask Wei Suo to suddenly look like a great treasure. Old man, you said this Ronald Reverend, how many years is it from now? Wei Suo didn't answer the words of green-robed old man, but took a deep breath and looked at green-robed old man. Isn't I already told you? Green-robed old man looked at Wei Suo with some strangeness. It's about 25,000 years from the current great treasure. I don't want great treasure, you are more precise, Wei Suo said very thickly. 2,500 and 400 years. Green-robed old man carefully counted in his mind, The naked body is more than 400 years old, I can't figure it out. What does this have to do with what is recorded in this jade talisman? This is a book called Ancient Memo, which records some of the things in the ancient cultivation world, which has the record of Heaven's Dome. You will know when you look at it. Wei Suo did not say much, and retired divine consciousness from Cyan Jade Talisman. Heaven's Dome, green-robed old man glimpsed a glimpse of green light and flowed into the Cyan Jade Talisman. 105,000 years. The lifespan of this Heaven's Dome is 105,000 years. It was only a moment of time, green light, green-robed old man immediately called great treasure. If the things recorded in this ancient note are not false, then our previous scruples are probably true. Wei Suo's pupil contracted slightly. It seems that Heaven's Dome will not be used for a long time, it will completely collapse. 100,000 years, if this record is true, then we are now almost 1,000 and 5,000 years away from Heaven's Dome. Isn't the current break, is it really a sign of the collapse of Heaven's Dome? Green-robed old man's face is incredible. Since this says, Shapeshift Great Art, why is Cloud Spirit Continent and other great treasures of Heaven's Dome, it seems that I have not heard of any great treasure changes, no is there a crack. For decades, even hundreds of years, for the 105,000 years, it is only a short moment. Even with the same restrictions, the environment of the secret place is different and the lifespan is different, which is normal. Wei Suo took a deep breath and spit it out slowly. But if this record is good, it will be a few hundred years. Do you think that these Heaven's Domes will collapse in a few hundred years? Green-robed old man looked at Wei Suo and was a little bit speechless. Your knowledge is only above me. It is not difficult to judge. You just can't believe this is true. Wei Suo squinted. So, after Heaven's Dome, after 15,000 years, the most great treasure of a catastrophe has begun, green-robed old man said something awkward. Of course, he is also very clear that even if Heaven's Dome has been broken for a few hundred years from the beginning of the break to Heaven's Dome, the cultivation world has no preparation time of hundreds of years, because as long as Heaven's Dome breaks through the gap, the cultivation world will be completely the great treasure is messed up. You didn't mean to scare, kidding. Yang Rougebird listened to it one by one, but it didn't believe it at all. It was so powerful for the monster beast that even the level 9 monster beast would be a dead word. Heaven's Dome would disappear. I want to joke with you, Shapeshift Great Art Great Treasures Good Secret Place, knowing that Golden Core's life piece Shapeshift Great Art Great Treasure, at least like a Golden Core shield, and according to the melting of the Shapeshift Great Art Great Treasure, there are many other wonderful, so now Wei Suo's is still a lot of white bones underworld fire. The last time I was in the Extreme Pleasure Palace and heaven-catching Reverend Intercourse, Wei Suo also saw the mystery of the Shapeshift Great Art Great Treasure. If it wasn't for heaven-catching Reverend Cultivation, which had a Shapeshift Great Art Great Treasure, and his Annihilation Golden Core was blown up, heaven-catching Reverend might not be as simple as a point injury. Cultivation Shapeshift Great Art Great Treasures Shapeshift Great Art, Wei Suo, but I always wanted to get it. Now I don't think that this name and heaven-catching Reverend is only one word away from the ancient cultivator Reverend. A shapeshift great art of such a culture shift shapeshift great art great treasure. Golden Core, life, shapeshift great art great treasure, heaven and earth, to communicate with the spirit of life. Wei Suo immediately took a closer look at the shapeshift great art of the culture shift great art great treasure. Dan Reverend, it is one of the 10 great treasure genius cultivators at that time. After carefully reading it, Wei Suo couldn't help but sigh. The shapeshift great art of the shapeshift great art great treasure is actually a very rare, very high level of culture, the shapeshift great art of shapeshift great art great treasure. The original general cultivation shapeshift great art great treasure shapeshift great art, there are many limitations, many art shapeshift great art, can only melt some kind of special other types of shapeshift great art great treasure, but this door golden core heart engraving wonderful, but there is no such restrictions, as long as the heart of the imprint of the scripture E-shift great art test, which is suitable for shapeshift great art great treasure shapeshift great art great treasure, can be used to cultivation, fusion cost life shapeshift great art great treasure. That is to say, if you have this surgery, shapeshift great art, and you want to have the shapeshift great art great treasure, you can see if there is a shapeshift great art great treasure that can be used for the culture shift great art great treasure. Dedication. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 525. Chapter 525 Dispute about the shapeshift great art great treasure. Wei Suo, what are you doing? Green-robed old man is still looking at the contents of the ancient notes, suddenly seeing Wei Suo pinching out a shapeshift great art, a white rainbow, suddenly hit the black little man in the reverend ancient storage ring on the ancient great treasure. Vertex novels, handwriting novels. The black great treasure of the black little treasure, green-robed old man, has also been seen. This little man is in the shape of a warrior, with one hand hanging down and one hand pointing straight ahead. The face is similar to the ordinary cultivator. The whole villain looks like essence metal refining, but when you look closely, it is a black, extremely solid wood. At a closer look, the armor that constitutes this little man is the wrong rune and the square text of the intercourse. There are some stars on the back. It seems that these rune and the text are the corresponding ones. This ancient great treasure is the square shapeshift great art that does not see the controls at all, and this ancient great treasure, if used, is likely to lead to terrifying powerful energy backlash. Now Wei Suo's action, naturally made green-robed old man startled. A surging sound of white rainbow light hit the black villain, but there is no reaction. You don't want to control this ancient great treasure? What is recorded in your cyan jade talisman? This time, green-robed old man also sees what Wei Suo is experimenting with in shapeshift great art. The golden core heart engraving wonderful scripture is recorded here, and the shapeshift great art of a curve shift great art great treasure. This heart print confirms shapeshift great art, and you can try out whether shapeshift great art great treasure can be used with the culture shift great art great treasure. Wei Suo is no nonsense. Go to the green-robed old man with cyan jade talisman in hand. Is this level of shapeshift great art? Green-robed old man had a shocked look on his face. A green light from his body broke into the cyan jade talisman, and soon the green light was received. Green-robed old man immediately said with joy, Wei Suo, the door of the shapeshift great art, should be one of the most advanced items in the shapeshift great art of all the culture of the shapeshift great art great treasure. This Ronald Reverend was one of the 10 great treasure genius cultivators at the time, and it was not a parallel. In this shapeshift great art, there is actually a shapeshift great art that can be used to prove whether it can be used in the culture shift great art great treasure. Wei Suo, you can take out the shapeshift great art great treasure on your body and see if there is a shapeshift great art great treasure that can be used for the culture shift great art great treasure. Then, green-robed old man immediately looked at Wei Suo. I just thought that Wei Suo, who originally thought of shapeshift great art, had any extra nonsense. On the treasure receiving pocket, I took the previous 2 ancient treasures that I got in the true Tibetan temple. These 2 ancient treasures are a red round mirror made with fire sparrow jade and a black dagger made with rune essence metal. Almost all ancient great treasures can be used after studying the square shapeshift great art. Together with the black villain on Reverend, Wei Suo now has a total of 3 intact ancient treasures, but Wei Suo and green-robed old man have no research on the ancient great treasure. There are also some ancient rumors and styles, and there is no trial of the ancient greatest treasure of the shapeshift great art. Therefore, if Wei Suo and green-robed old man can go out smoothly, they should also look for a great treasure store with the means to test the ancient great treasure. But now use the shapeshift great art in the golden core heart engraving wonderful scripture to try these ancient great treasures. Can you use the curve shift great art great treasure? But there is no problem. Hey, hey. 2 surging sounds, and Wei Suo just draws two white rainbow lights from the bottle gourd, playing on these two ancient treasures. These two things can't be used to refine the shapeshift great art great treasure. Try another shapeshift great art great treasure. Green-robed old man saw that the two white rainbow lights were hit, and the two ancient great treasures were the same as the previous black villains, with no slight change. Among all the shapeshift great art great treasures, the shapeshift great art great treasure that can be used to refine the shapeshift great art great treasure is not much. If you see such a lust shape, Wei Suo has no disappointment lust, and then will the half-mystic rank shapeshift great art great treasure and heaven overflowing river scroll, which were obtained from Xuanhuan reverence bronze spoon, were taken out. Hey! The white rainbow light from Wei Suo hit the bronze spoon without any change. But the white rainbow that Wei Suo immediately sent, hit the heaven overflowing river scroll, but it suddenly changed. I saw this white rainbow hit, but a trace of surging sound did not sound, but along the heaven overflowing river scroll, outside the heaven overflowing river scroll, a white shapeshift great art was formed. Shape. This heaven overflowing river scroll is actually a shapeshift great art great treasure that can be used to refine the shapeshift great art great treasure. This kind of lust shape makes Wei Suo and green-robed old man unforeseen. After all, this thing is very famous in the southern part of heavenly profound continent, but no one has said that this thing can be used for the culture of the shapeshift great art great treasure. After looking at each other with green-robed old man, Wei Suo didn't stop, but took all of the shape rank high grades shapeshift great art great treasure on hand and tried it out. Even if you haven't got enough of the white bones underworld fire, try it out. But in addition to this heaven overflowing river scroll, the other shapeshift great art great treasure, but it can be used for the culture of the shapeshift great art great treasure, including the use of shapeshift great art to try not to make up the number of white bones underworld fire is also not good. After closing the other shapeshift great art great treasure, Wei Suo looked at the only heaven overflowing river scroll he hadn't retracted, frowning and sinking. Wei Suo, do you want to use this heaven overflowing river scroll to sacrifice the shapeshift great art great treasure? Seeing the look of Wei Suo, green-robed old man's face also showed a dignified look. I do have such a desire for shapeshift great art. Wei Suo nodded and glanced at green-robed old man. And the shapeshift great art says that as long as it is equivalent to the golden core powerful energy of the golden core third layer cultivation base, you can try this shapeshift great art sacrifices the shapeshift great art great treasure. Although I am only the cultivation base of the golden core second layer, the powerful energy of the golden core is stronger than the cultivator of the general golden core third layer. It is very likely that the shapeshift great art can be used directly to sacrifice the shapeshift great art great treasure. According to this shapeshift great art, you can really try it, and you can succeed, and there is no danger of too great treasure. Green-robed old man looked at Wei Suo and shook his head. But I am not in favor of using this shapeshift great art great treasure to sacrifice the shapeshift great art great treasure. Although the shapeshift great art great treasure is refining into the shapeshift great art great treasure, accepting the infiltration of the golden core, the equivalent to become a growthable shapeshift great art great treasure, the powerful energy of the shapeshift great art great treasure, will not stop growing, and start the culture shift great art great treasure as early as the day. It is a good secret place. But just like cultivating the monster beast, the foundation is poor, and it has been a lot worse since the beginning. If someone else uses real mystery, shapeshift great art great treasure. Wei Suo seems to be convincing green-robed old man, said. Speaking of whether you can go out and heaven's dome, the god of the green-robed old man is obviously stagnation, and it is not as determined. If I change me anyway, I am sure I have to wait a while to say it. After hesitating, green-robed old man glanced at Yang Rouge Bird. Now I am against it? He is in favor, 1-1, Yang Rouge Bird. What is your opinion? What can I say? Please, I am just a good bird, what the old great treasure said. Of course, what it is green-robed old man had wanted Yang Rouge Bird to force himself, but when Yang Rougebird spoke, he almost fainted. There are good things that can improve your strength. Don't use them until you die. And to be honest, I also feel that the old great treasure is justified, and that his mother, cultivation. Mother Hummer, if it's culture now, I'll find something better than heaven overflowing river scroll, and I can cut out your bird's hair in the future. Green-robed old man stunned his mouth full of Yang Rougebird. In fact, I want to use the shapeshift great art great treasure cultivation directly, and there is another reason. If I can go out from here, I still have the opportunity to continue looking for pure void vine, etc., or have the opportunity to cultivate immortal root 5 secrets. When I can build 2 golden cores, I can still find a better shapeshift great art great treasure. Used for culture's other golden cores sacred shapeshift great art great treasure. Wei Suo looked at green-robed old man and said this again. When we heard Wei Suo say this, green-robed old man also felt that there was some truth and did not express any objections. Wei Suo has already made up his mind at this time, and he did not say anything. He was a surging sound. He saw his purple treasure, which was a little scary. The radiant glow of the glow was directly sacrificed by him.